This is the night of champions. There's the champ, Muhammad Ali, and Angelo Dundee, Miss Florida, Lisette Gonzalez, Pat Riley, and Garo Yepremian. There are some party crashers from around the state, and why not? This is the party of the year.
From the historic Biltmore Hotel in Coral Gables, Lucent Technologies presents the second annual Champion Awards. Here are your hosts, Dick Stockton and Lesley Visser.
Well, good evening. I am Dick Stockton, and I'm here along with my better three-quarters, the beautiful and talented Lesley Visser, my pride and joy, and welcome everyone to the Champion Awards.
Thanks, Dick. I always tell people we've lived in South Florida for about 15 years now, and I always say it's been so great for both of us because I have the Dolphins and Dick has golf, and I have the Heat and the Magic and Dick has golf, and I have the Buccaneers and the Jaguars. Well, you get the idea. Anyway, we are so glad to be here. As you know, the Florida Sports Foundation honors the state's best professional athletes, coaches, teams, and personalities. Finalists at tonight's Champion Awards were determined by a respected panel of sports journalists and broadcasters from around the state. You voted at Burger King restaurants over the internet and for winners in football, baseball, basketball, hockey, as well as the Team of the Year.
Did you mention that I'm into golf a little bit?
I did.
We are in the Country Club Ballroom at the Biltmore Hotel. Joining us, Darrell Armstrong of the Orlando Magic, the NBA's Sixth Man of the Year. Stars from the perfect 1972 Dolphins, Dick Anderson and Mercury Morris, and the Fight Doctor, Ferdy Pacheco. Besides a star-studded group of presenters and Champion Award winners whom you'll see tonight.
Of course, one of Florida's favorite residents left us on March 8th. While his presence will be missed, his memory will last forever.
Lives of great men all remind us we can make our lives sublime, and departing leave behind us footprints on the sand of time. Footprints that perhaps another, sailing o'er life's solemn main, a forlorn and shipwrecked brother, seeing shall take heart again. Let us then be up and doing, with a heart of any fate, still achieving, still pursuing. Learn to labor and to wait. Henry Wadsworth Longfellow.
One of the great men, and Joe DiMaggio. Florida, as we know, a great state, terrific weather, new stadiums with grass fields, and of course, no state income tax. What football player wouldn't want to play here in the Sunshine State with the Dolphins, the Buccaneers, or the Jaguars? And who knows better than NFL Hall of Fame center and former Miami Dolphin, Dwight Stevenson, joined by Vince Lopez from Bell South.
We also have an abundance of talent in Florida, which made choosing just 3 football finalists impossible. So we've got 4 for you.
Football Player of the Year.
Derek Brooks, outside linebacker, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Of his 156 tackles in '98, 121 were solo. A Pro Bowler and a member of the 1997 All-Madden team. O.J. McDuffie, wide receiver, Miami Dolphins. Led the National Football League with 90 receptions in '98. He added 1,050 yards and 8 touchdowns to the Dolphins' offense. Warren Sapp, defensive tackle, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. A 2-time Pro Bowler, he was a monster in the middle with 44 tackles, 7 sacks, and an interception in '98. Fred Taylor, running back, Jacksonville Jaguars. NFL Rookie of the Year contender. He rushed for 1,223 yards and 14 touchdowns. In 2 playoff games for the Jaguars, he added another 248 yards.
And the winner is Warren Sapp, Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
We've done this before. Well, the tougher side of Warren Sapp is ability, as you all know, to take over a game. The softer side, last year I had the flu and Warren made me a pot of chicken soup. So one of my favorite players. Warren, you're known for your ability to get to the quarterback. What is the secret to a sack?
Well, I guess it'll be my teammates around me, because without them, I'm nothing, and I have to give all the credit to them. And we got there and we bang around, and, you know, I get all the glory, but, you know, they're hard-working men around me.
I think Brett Favre thinks it's you. What do the Buccaneers have to do to get back? Kind of a tough season last year.
Well, I'll tell you what, the thing we have to do is become more consistent on a week-in, week-out basis. And once we do that, championship in the sky's the limit.
We'll be looking forward to it. Thank you, Warren. Congratulations.
Lucent Technologies presents the Champion Awards, sponsored in part by Lucent Technologies. We make things that make communications work. By Burger King, when you have it your way, it just tastes better. By Sports for Life, empowering Florida's youth to live tobacco-free. By Bell South. By Florida Water Services, saving water for Florida's future. By AT&T, it's all within your reach. By Miami-Dade County, with the support of the Miami-Dade County Commissioners and the Tourist Development Council. And by Coca-Cola, always a champion, always Coca-Cola.
In our throwaway society, when we grow weary of a toy, we dump the old in favor of the new. It's what makes Christmas morning so exciting. But as we all know, newer is not always better. Better is better. And next up, the newer who turned out to be better. Presented by the outgoing Miss Florida, Lisette Gonzalez, joined by Ms. Alex Valak from United Airlines.
Good evening. It is a great honor to be here as Miss Florida, recognizing the great athletes of our state. And it is an honor for me to present the Newcomer of the Year Award. They come from down the street and around the world, drafted, traded, or signed. They're either newcomers to Florida or Floridians that are new to their sport.
Newcomer of the Year.
Pavel Bure, right wing, Florida Panthers. Made an instant impact following a blockbuster trade from Vancouver. He scored at least 1 point in each of his first 6 games in Florida. The Panthers were 5-2-2 in games he played from start to finish. Suri Pak resides in Orlando. Runaway winner of the 1998 LPGA Rookie of the Year Award. Won the 1998 LPGA Open in her first tournament and is the youngest player ever to win the U.S. Women's Open. Fred Taylor, running back, Jacksonville Jaguars. From rookie backup to NFL star, he powered the Jaguars to an 11-5 record, an AFC Central Division title, and a first-round victory in the NFL playoffs.
And the winner of the Newcomer of the Year Award is Mr. Fred Taylor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Good evening. I'm Fred Taylor with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I would like to thank the Florida Sports Foundation for this Champion Award tonight. I'm sorry I wasn't able to attend and be there in person. It's been a privilege to play ball in the state of Florida my entire life, high school, college, and professional. Once again, thank you, and have a great evening.
Congratulations to Fred. Well, for years, ice was simply a substance that kept tea cold, and then came the Panthers, followed by a trip to the Stanley Cup Finals, and now we've got 2 teams, a rivalry and a new generation of kids who think ice when asked about skates. Presenting the Champion Award for hockey, the only person we know from Red Deer in Alberta, Canada, 13-year NHL veteran and radio analyst for the Florida Panthers, Randy Moeller, who's joined by Arturo Rodriguez from Coca-Cola.
Good evening, everyone. What a great evening here. All these stars in the sporting worlds from past and present. I have to say, though, it's an honor of my life to be in the same room with the champ, Muhammad Ali. They say the toughest thing in sports is to hit a baseball. Well, put on some pads from the NFL, get knocked around the paint in the NBA, put on a pair of blades and go 30 miles an hour down a frozen pond. Now try and hit a baseball. This year's champions finals in hockey are
Hockey Player of the Year.
Pavel Bure, right wing, Florida Panthers. In just 11 games, the Russian Rocket scored an incredible 13 goals and 16 points, including 2 hat tricks. At that rate, in a full 82-game season, he would have scored 118 points. Wendell Clark, left wing, Tampa Bay Lightning. Leading scorer for the Lightning before a trade sent him to the Detroit Red Wings and a run at the Stanley Cup. Ray Whitney, left wing, Florida Panthers. Led the Panthers in scoring for a second consecutive season. 64 points, 26 goals, and 38 assists. He played in 81 of the Panthers' 82 games.
And the winner is the Wizard, Ray Whitney of the Florida Panthers.
Well, you were considered one of the great steals and deals of the NHL when you were acquired by the Panthers. You are considered so tough to check. What is your approach to the game?
Well, obviously, we don't have the imposing players like football and Warren Sapp, but everybody can see by my physical stature I'm not a big man, so I guess I try to keep underneath everybody as much as possible.
You're from Edmonton, so we know one person you probably grew up rooting for, but who else were your role models?
Well, Wayne Gretzky was my biggest role model. I got the opportunity to be in the dressing room growing up as a stick boy in Canada, and you know, when I got a chance to play against him, and I went out for dinner with him when he was injured, and you know, one of the true great athletes of all time, I think.
Pretty good role model to have. Congratulations to you, Ray. Thank you.
Next up, Florida's Year in Review, and a tribute to the man who puts it in perspective, as Lucent Technologies presents the Champion Awards.
Over the past year, Florida hosted a Super Bowl, the NHL All-Star Game, sent both basketball teams to the NBA playoffs, and 2 out of 3 to the NFL playoffs. The Sunshine State is identified with the Daytona 500, the greatest golf and golfers, and the 5th most important tennis tournament in the world. What else could we ask for? Maybe a few more seconds for this retrospective.
Rewind, the Year in Review.
I'm Sam Kavaris in Jacksonville, a city that sits hard on the banks of the St. Johns River, one of the few rivers in the northern hemisphere that flows to the north. And while a river may flow through it, the sports energy in this town usually starts and stops right there at Alltel Stadium, home of the National Football League's Jacksonville Jaguars.
The emergence of Fred Taylor helped the Jaguars to the playoffs for the 3rd consecutive year. Still, this team is trying to achieve higher goals.
AFC Central Division title, 12 wins. We've been in the playoffs 3 straight years. It is a successful season, no doubt. Is it the extent to which we wanted to go? Of course not.
The best golfers in the world on the toughest course for the most money. That's the situation every year at the Players' Championship. This year won by Jacksonville native David Duval. Women's tennis took center stage in center court in April on Amelia Island at the Bosch & Lomb Championships, won by Monica Seles.
This is Gary Cole in Orlando, where this past year, fire overshadowed fireworks. In Daytona, the Pepsi 400, scheduled to run under the lights for the first time ever on the 4th of July, was postponed by wildfires. But when the green flag finally dropped in October, it was Jeff Gordon continuing his dominance, taking the checkered flag, and then coming back in February to win the big one, the Daytona 500. Postponement was also the story in the NBA, but when the Magic finally tipped it off, they turned out to be one of the surprise teams in the league. Led by 6th Man of the Year Darrell Armstrong, the Magic went 33-17, tying for the best record in the Eastern Conference. The Orlando Predators beat arch-rival Tampa Bay 62-31 to win the 1998 Arena Bowl title. And finally at Arnie's place for the Bay Hill Invitational, Tim Herron, the man known as Lumpy, won in a playoff and took home a lump sum of $450,000.
I'm Dick Crippen in Tampa, where there's a new kid on the block, the Tampa Bay Devil Rays.
Tampa Bay finally has Major League Baseball, and it opened in 1998 with a refurbished Tropicana field and a couple of big names on the roster. Hometown hero Wade Boggs would continue his trek to 3,000 hits, and local favorite Fred McGriff would bring the big bat from Atlanta. Sum up their year, they did better than some thought they would, and worse than some hoped they would. They were a first-year expansion team that did pull off some surprises even though they finished last in the American League East with 63 wins. The Bucks took the field last fall in a brand spanking new, state-of-the-art stadium with high hopes. They had been to the playoffs the year before, so it wasn't unreasonable to think they would make a run at them again. And although they came close at 8-8, they didn't fulfill their own goals. Time and time again, their defense, led by Warren Sapp and Derek Brooks, drew praise, along with running back Warwick Dunn, which gives fans renewed hopes for '99. The Tampa Bay Lightning never got it together. The sale of the team before the season didn't help the play on the ice. 6 months in, there was talk of another sale. That happened. Now, with new owners in place, everyone looks to use that old motto from the early Buccaneers, worst to first. We'll see.
I'm Frank Fort in Miami. Downtown behind me, the Miami Heat's new arena is under construction. But as always in South Florida, the team that dominates the headlines is the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins reached the playoffs for the second year in a row, winning a thriller over Buffalo in a wild card game, but they were smoked in Denver in the second round by the eventual Super Bowl champion Broncos. The Marlins dismantled their World Series team and suffered through a miserable '98 season. The most significant development, the sale of the team from Wayne Huizenga to John Henry. The Heat won their third straight Atlantic Division title under Pat Riley, but for the second year in a row were eliminated in the opening round of the postseason by the Knicks. The Panthers showed a 15-point improvement in the standings and acquired a superstar in Pavel Bure, but his injuries and inconsistency by the team led to a second straight year of missing the playoffs. South Florida got a Major League Soccer franchise, the Miami Fusion. They made the playoffs in their inaugural year. In golf, Steve Elkington won the Doral. Vijay Singh took the Honda Classic. Venus Williams won her second straight Lipton tennis title, beating younger sister Serena. And the Homestead Motorsports Complex continued to be a showcase for all types of racing. The biggest news from the track, come November, Winston Cup racing will be here as Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt, and the big stars of NASCAR race here for the very first time ever.
And that leads us to the media, the link between athlete and fan, whether in print, on radio, or television. And to present the Media Award, the son of nationally acclaimed sports writer Cy Goldberg and master of his own radio and television domain, the Hammer, Hank Goldberg.
When you talk about Edwin Pope, the names of Smith and all the great ones, Furman Bisher, Jim Murray, Shirley Povich, they all come to mind. Legendary columnist Jimmy Cannon has called him the best writer of sports in America, while Pulitzer Prize-winning author James Michener said of him, "I came to expect a reasonable presentation of facts and a sensible interpretation of their significance. No higher compliment could be paid to any writer." It is my honor and my pleasure to present this 1999 Champion Award to Mr. Edwin Pope, sports editor of the Miami Herald.
And Jeff Sharkey from Sports of Life holding the trophy right now.
Ed, you have covered everything. You're a self-described football man, but what is the greatest event to cover?
Football.
Any specifically?
Well, to be honest with you, the biggest thrill I've ever had was not in football, but in boxing. Back in 1964, when I rode on the bus with Muhammad Ali from here to Chicopee Falls, Massachusetts, where he was training for the second Liston fight. And our bus broke down outside Fayetteville, North Carolina. We went 3 days without eating, without sleeping. We got to Chicopee Falls, Massachusetts. We looked like a convention of chimney sweeps. But anyway, when the bus broke down, Muhammad went into town, into Fayetteville, North Carolina, talked him out of another bus, got on the bus, and we saw him lean out the window and say, "Goodbye, little red bus," sitting by the edge of the road. I was too good for a little bus like you anyway. That was fun I've ever had in my life.
Well, thanks for sharing with us. I think everybody here would love to go with you and Muhammad and Angelo and catch up on old times. Congratulations, Ed.
Thank you very much.
Legends are made of these. Next up, the Champs Champion, as Lucent Technologies presents the Champion Awards.
Merriam-Webster defines champion as one who shows marked superiority, the winner of first prize, a warrior. It is a title and a badge of honor that our next presenter carries as well. Olympic gold medalist, let's welcome Bob Beamon.
It's going to be truly an honor tonight to to introduce this gentleman that is so great around the world. He's been the trainer of the year, the manager of the year, the man of the year. As much as he's given to the sport of boxing, he has given more to the community of mankind. There are few like Angelo Dundee. We are honored and proud to have him as a neighbor. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the 1999 Legend Award winner, Angelo Dundee.
Angelo, you are so synonymous with boxing. Can you talk a little bit about what made Muhammad Ali the greatest?
Well, you'll see a little bit of it tonight because the big thing about this guy, he's going to beat Parkinson. That's the big thing.
That'd be his greatest victory.
If anybody could do it, he'll do it because he's been a great kid his whole life, and I only been knowing him since he's 16. And I worked with him for 19 years, but it was a fun trip because when you work with a talent like that, it's easy.
What were the first skills? What were the first impressions you had of Muhammad Ali?
I thought the guy was a screwball. The guy was jumping all over the joint, doing everything, doing everything wrong, but it came out right, and I had to explain that to the media. But a great talent right from the get-go. First guy in the gym, last guy to leave, and he worked at it. And it paid off because, hey, look what he is. He's a legend, a great guy, great champion, and, man, he likes people. The people, they feel good about it.
Angelo Dundee was with me when I first started, signed professional, and he will be with me until the end. We get along good. He's never there to tell me when to run, when not to run, what to do, what not to do. And under Angelo, there's no bossing and no forcing, and he's there when I want him. This is why we can get along,
What a picture, huh?
This is the highlight of this dinner and many, many dinners to come. And to honor Angelo Dundee, we have on our stage, and what a thrill, the legend of legends, Muhammad Ali, who has a message from the champion, longtime friend Howard Bingham. Howard?
Hi, I'm Howard Bingham, and Angelo Dundee. That name brings to mind many different images. One, he's my friend. Two, he's my trainer. And three, one of the biggest names in boxing history. Throughout my career, there have been a handful of people that made a significant difference in my life. Angelo is one of those people. He was always unfazed by all that went around us. He kept his cool, stayed professional. His legend is that he was the greatest trainer, greatest cut man, greatest inspiration, and a fierce intimidator. Angelo, as we traveled the world together, little did we know that we were setting the stage for history. Of all the people that I can think of, you definitely helped me throughout my career. And we shared the stage together. Whenever you referred to me, you said, Ali, he's my guy. Well, Angelo, tonight I can say you're my guy, the greatest trainer that ever lived, and the most importantly, a good person who I'm proud to call my friend. Angelo Dundee, you are the greatest of all time.
Congratulations.
Coming up, the best driver, and the best driver. Auto racing, golf, and the Coach of the Year as Lucent Technologies presents the Champion Awards.
It is America's fastest growing sport and likewise the fastest sport. We love speed, and today we can't get enough of it. Presenting the Champion Award for auto racing, a racing legend in his own right, drag racer Big Daddy Don Garlits, joined by Barry Johnson from AT&T.
Thank you very much. You know, there are events that transcend sports. I can think of a couple, Super Bowl, World Cup, the Kentucky Derby. And if you're talking about auto racing, it's got to be the Indianapolis 500. You win that race and you're immortalized. For his win in the 1998 Indy 500, this year's Champ Award goes to Eddie Cheever.
Eddie, congratulations. You are one of the most experienced drivers in all of racing. Can you tell us what makes the Indy so tough, so unpredictable?
Is experience synonymous with old?
Yeah, I've heard that before myself.
The Indianapolis 500 is the most grueling 500 miles any racing driver will have to run. You spend the whole day at above 220 miles an hour, and it doesn't take a great imagination to understand what happens if you make a mistake. So it's one of those very tough events, and I'm very honored to have won it. And I'm especially honored to be in the same place with the great Muhammad Ali on this stage. And I remember as a child watching him, and he was the one athlete my father said, that's what you want to emulate if you're going to be an athlete. So it's been a memorable evening. Thank you.
Memorable for all time. Thank you. Congratulations to you, Eddie.
Florida is blessed with an abundance of great golf courses and state-of-the-art tennis facilities. With our year-round weather, it is a wonder golf and tennis stars migrate and stay here. Imagine how tough it was to choose a winner in men's and women's golf and tennis, with superstars enough to fill a phone directory. From Fulton Allen to Fuzzy Zeller, with Tiger Woods, Mark O'Meara, Jim Courier, Jan Stevenson, Dottie Pepper, Steffi Graf, and Monica Seles jammed in between. What an amazing list of people. Well, here are the winners.
Men's Golfer of the Year.
The champ goes to David Duval. Born in Jacksonville, he resides in Jacksonville Beach. Leads the 1999 PGA Money List, the world rankings, and is #1 in Ryder Cup points. He won 4 tournaments in '98 and is on pace to win many more in '99.
Women's Golfer of the Year.
The champ goes to Sori Pak. She resides in Orlando. Became just the 3rd player in LPGA history to win both the U.S. Open and LPGA Championship in the same year. Pak recorded the lowest single-round score in LPGA history with a 61 in the 2nd round of last year's Jamie Farr Classic.
Men's Tennis Player of the Year.
The champ goes to Pete Sampras. He resides in Orlando. Top-ranked ATP player in the world. Won nearly $4 million in '98 and 4 tournament titles, including Wimbledon. First player in ATP rankings history to finish first 6 consecutive years. 1999 could mean a lucky 7.
Women's Tennis.
The champ goes to Venus Williams. She resides in Palm Beach Gardens. Currently 5th in WTA rankings and 6th on the 1999 WTA money list. She won the 1998 Lipton Championships and defended her title in 1999.
They are the brains behind the brawn, the men who make their athletic machines run. They are the coaches and managers. No one knows the highs and lows of a coach's life any better than our next presenter, Howard Schnellenberger, joined by Glenda Beckett from Lucent Technologies.
Well, we're delighted to be here, and obviously we're excited about being back in paradise. We're also very excited about being a part of putting a new football team in paradise, and certainly delighted to be here with all of you tonight in paradise. Needless to say, there's nothing more fulfilling, nor more satisfying, and even more frustrating than being on the sideline or next to the court or in the dugout and being forced to watch in the final moments of a football game, a baseball game, or a basketball game. And now, the guys that have been in that position so many times.
Coach of the Year.
Tom Coughlin, Jacksonville Jaguars, the only coach they've ever known. Led the Jaguars to a first-ever AFC Central Division title with an 11-5 record. He directed the steady climb from expansion franchise to NFL powerhouse. Chuck Daly, Orlando Magic. Second and final season with the Magic, he retooled a team devastated by the departure of Shaquille O'Neal. Tied the Heat and Pacers in '99 with the best record in the NBA's Eastern Conference. Pat Riley, Miami Heat. Led the Heat to 3rd consecutive Atlantic Division title and first ever Eastern Conference regular season championship. In 4 seasons, he transformed the Heat from a perennial also-ran into the ranks of the NBA's elite.
And the winner is Coach Pat Riley, Miami Heat.
Now, hell we need another one.
I don't know. Well, can you talk about that, Pat? You dominated the 80s. You've turned around 2 franchises. I know you get paid big money to speak about this, but what qualities does a winning coach have to have?
What qualities? Right there. Somebody to drown out their voice on a regular basis, okay?
What motivates players?
I think players inspire coaches to inspire them if they need to be inspired. But, you know, watching the video of Joe DiMaggio and being in the presence of Muhammad Ali, I only have one wish. You know, I have a lot of jewelry in my pockets. I have a money clip that was given to me by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I have some cufflinks that were given to me by Patrick Ewing. I have a lighter in my pocket that I carry around that was my father's. I'm waiting for Tim Hardaway to give me that diamond in his ear, okay? I don't know if he's going to do that or not, but I'll ask for it one day. But I think the one thing that I think coaches, or at least I hope that I can achieve one day in my life, is that, you know, with these men that have been truly great and gifted as legends, is that, you know, one day when they put me in the earth, and one day we'll all be put in that earth, is that it's not going to be the hardware or those things that I'll take with me. It's hope that the hearts of the players that I coach, you know, Tim Hardaway's and the Alonzo Mournings and things of that nature, is that we have shared something very, very special, you know, as player and coach, and I think that's what gets the job done for me. In spite of what people may think, you know, about the relationship between coaches and players, that's what it's all about. I love it. I hope I can coach forever, but I hope that one day I can take that to my grave with me, their hearts.
Thank you, Pat.
Up next, the Dean of the Diamond and the King of the Hoops, as Lucent Technologies presents the Champion Awards.
Thank you, Michael Jordan. Thank you for retiring. If you need a place to play golf, and I don't think you do, we've got some lovely courses here. Thank you for giving the rest of the NBA a chance to play. Thank you for giving the rest of the NBA a chance to win. Presenting the Champion Award for basketball, NBA great Artis Gilmore, joined by Vincent Berkeley from Burger King.
Good evening. I also have some great memories to share about the champ that we spent some time together in Louisville, Kentucky. As you know, the NBA had a very short season. They spent 5 months putting into an 8-month season. So there was a great chance for 2 teams to spend most of the year at the top, which was your Miami Heat and the Orlando Magic. So now I present to you the finalists.
Basketball Player of the Year.
Nick Anderson, guard, Orlando Magic. The franchise's all-time leading scorer. He was the first ever draft pick by the Magic, averaged 15 points and 6 rebounds per game in '99. Tim Hardaway, guard, Miami Heat. The field general, averaged 17 points and 7 assists per game. He's an 80% free throw shooter and was recently named to the NBA's second team. Alonzo Mourning, center, Miami Heat. The NBA's Defensive Player of the Year. Led the Heat with 20 points and 11 rebounds per game. He led the NBA in block shots, was 4th in field goal percentage, 6th in rebounds, as an NBA All-First-Teamer.
And the winner is Alonzo Mourning.
I'm sorry I couldn't be there tonight to accept this award in person. It's an honor and a privilege to receive an award of this caliber. Although I wish I had the award that I could slide on my finger, we have plenty other years to accomplish that one, without a doubt. I would like to thank all the fans across Florida for nominating me for this award. I would also like to thank the Florida Sports Foundation for their nomination as well. It's an honor. Again, it's an honor and a privilege to receive an award of this caliber. And my hat's off to all of the other nominees. I'm sure I'm in great company. I hope you all are having a wonderful evening, and I wish you the best, and God bless you all. Thank you. Good night.
Congratulations, Alonzo. While Miami Dolphins head coach Don Shula set the standard for wins in the National Football League, no one comes close to 3,776 wins recorded by the grandfather of Florida's U.S. Senator Connie Mack.
Good evening. No one knew more about victory and defeat than my grandfather and namesake. Cornelius McGillicuddy was born before the advent of professional baseball as we've come to know it. He grew into the game just as the game grew because of him. As baseball fans, we are eternally grateful that he helped introduce baseball to the people of Florida as a member of the Washington Club in 1888 and later as owner and manager of the Philadelphia Athletics. Today, our state is proud to be spring training home to many Major League Baseball teams and the year-round home to the Florida Marlins and the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. Branch Rickey, the late owner of the Dodgers, said my grandfather's immortality was as a teacher, and his belief that no real discipline was obtained unless it was self-imposed and voluntary. My grandfather managed 53 years and left the game with more wins than any manager or coach in the history of professional sports. But he never managed the Philadelphia Athletics in a baseball uniform. He felt a business suit was more appropriate. It was my great fortune to have known him and to have been named after him. Today, I am proud to share his name and the love of the game with you. My family and I are honored that the Champion Award for Baseball will bear one of the game's greatest names, Connie Mack.
Well, it wasn't many years ago when Florida's Major League Baseball season lasted from February to April, spring training, then see you later. And today we have two teams and already own a World Series trophy, and the future looks bright. It is now appropriate for one of America's renowned humorists, Dave Barry of the Miami Herald, to present the Champions Connie Mack Award for Baseball, joined by John Sorello from Florida Water Services.
Thank you. I just want to say I am not a Florida athlete, but I am wearing a protective cup. And it's not easy to find one my size. I had to rent it with this tuxedo. I had to just tell that story. Baseball. The broom sweeps two ways. Goodbye to Charles Johnson. Welcome, Jose Canseco. Welcome back, Alex Fernandez. And of course, local jewelers can't wait for A.J. Burnett. Here now, the finalists in baseball.
Baseball Player of the Year.
Rolando Arroyo, pitcher, Tampa Bay Devil Rays. Second, the 1998 American League Rookie of the Year ballot. He led all AL rookies in wins, innings, strikeouts, and shutouts. Cliff Floyd,